Hello and welcome back to Gapeys Grow Room. So a lot of changes have happened in the grow room in the last couple of weeks since I posted the last update. We've even taken a few things outside and got them acclimated. Those spring greens that I was growing, the arugula, the kale, the pak choi, and the chicory have all been moved outside and they're doing really well. We even got down to 30 degrees outside a couple times this week and they're still doing just fine. So I've started lots of new seeds and everything is growing well. So let's take a closer look. One thing I forgot to show in my last grow room tour is the power strip that I use. So this is a timed power strip. There's 4 outlets on the left, and those are the timed ones. Those are the ones that I have all of the lights plugged into, and then the ones on the right are always on. So that's the ones that I keep my heat mat on, and I've also got my fan plugged into that side. And I really like this one. It's a digital timer one, and it's really easy to set up. And I have tried the analog ones, and they, for some reasons, just don't work for me. After a few years, they just stop working. The timer doesn't go on. So I like this digital one. I've also tried the smart power strips, which also work okay, but I prefer these digital ones. And I'll put a link to the one that I use in the description of the video. And I have it set to be on for 15 hours a day. So the plants get 15 hours of light and they seem to be doing pretty well with that. You may notice that I have 2 racks in here now. I used to have the one on the right in a different room, but we decided to move that one in here with the other, and I'll be filling that one up with tomatoes here before too long. But right now, there's not much going on in that rack on the right. I've got some storage stuff on the bottom shelf that I've got all my containers and my fertilizer and stuff in, but that's pretty much all that's in there right now. And then on the left side, let's start on the bottom. So the bottom shelf, I've got all of my germinating, it's kind of my germination shelf. So I've got my peppers in a can here in this tote, and that just helps keep the warmth in there because the cans are too tall to fit under a humidity dome. So I've got 4 cans in there growing for the pepper in a can contest. And then in here, I've got a few things here under a humidity dome. Let's see, we've got some foxgloves, we've got some guajillo peppers, and there's a story about those here I'll talk about in a future video. We've got some USDA cardinacea, those are a wild pepper, and then we've got parsley. I'm surprised the parsley isn't up yet. I think it's been about a week since I started those. So hopefully we'll get some to come up. And I've also got a few things germinating in paper towels. These are some peppers that are apparently bad seeds. You can see they're kind of turning brownish purple. And then we've got some dahlia seeds, and one of those has germinated, and I'll be putting that in some potting mix here pretty soon. And then I had really bad luck with these guys. These are the butterfly blue pea flower. I only got 2 of these to germinate, and the rest have been sitting here for almost a month probably, and I don't think any of these are going to germinate. And then here on the second shelf we have lots of different things. We've got some summer purple broccoli, which is my favorite broccoli to grow. It doesn't get a big head, but it's more like a broccolini. And then we've got, I think, 5 different varieties of kale back here that I started just a few weeks ago. And then we've got some chocolate lace flower, which is a fun flower that I've never grown before. And then we've got a couple of lettuces. This is a red leaf variety on the left here, and that one looks like it's about ready to get repotted. So I'll be separating these into individual cells here probably this week. And then the freckles romaine, this is an older seed, so I didn't have very good germination on that. And then back here is the white seeded Samara, and this is the lettuce that I showed in the previous video that was really leggy. So it seems to have bounced back really well. I got it repotted, so they're in 4-cell trays right now, and I'll be taking those outside and starting to get those acclimated probably here this week. And then, so here are the 2 blue pea flowers that ended up germinating, and they don't actually look that great. The leaves are kind of yellow and curling. I've tried growing blue pea flowers before, and I just never had much luck with them, so it doesn't look like this is going to be the year for me on those either. And then back here we've got some Rudbeckia, which is a flower. And then we have some more flowers here. These are 3 different varieties of straw flower, and I'll be repotting these up into individual cells here probably in the next couple weeks. And then we got 2 trays here of mellow yellow coneflowers, and they're still pretty small. I put a couple seeds in each cell here, and most of them only germinated 1. So there's this tray and that tray here that I'll have to separate those because 2 came up in there. And then we've got some white pin cushions. I'll be repotting those up here pretty soon too. And then behind that we've got 3 different varieties of calendula, and we've got between 4 and 5 seedlings in each cell, so I'll be potting those up again here pretty soon. And then here we've got our celery, so I've got those already potted up into their individual containers, and these are actually in 6-cell trays, and they'll probably stay in here for a little while longer. Now up here on the 3rd shelf from the bottom, we've got a heat mat on here, and I've changed out the 10 by 20 heat mats, and I've got this really big heat mat that's 4 feet long, and that fits the entire shelf. So the whole shelf has a heat mat on it, and this is where all my heat loving things are. So we've got the peppers back there, and most of those are doing really good. I did unfortunately kill one of them here. I'm pretty sure this guy isn't gonna make it. This is the Moruga Red Monster, and that was the one that was doing the best. It had germinated first and was just growing super fast, and I guess it just grew too fast that I couldn't keep up with the watering, so it ended up drying out, and I did try watering it and it just did not bounce back. So I'm kind of upset about that, but I do have a couple more. So here's another Moruga Red Monster. So I do have some extras, so that's great. And then here we've got some tomatillos, and these just germinated in the last couple days. And we have our first eggplant coming up here, and that's the Chinese string variety that I got from Baker Creek. So this one looked like a fun one, so I haven't grown this one before. And then here are the dahlias that I started. So I started some directly in potting mix and some in the paper towels. So this tray here I started directly in the potting mix, and we've got 5 of 6 already up. And then this dahlia here is one that I started in paper towels and transferred to soil just this morning. And then we've got 2 red calabrochas. I planted a lot of seeds, but only 2 of them unfortunately came up. And then we've got our basil. We've got sweet basil there. We've got the purple opal basil. We've got some Thai basil back there and some more sweet basil. And then here is our sea holly. This is a blue glitter variety, and I've never grown sea holly before, but I only had one of them germinate, unfortunately. So we only got one of those. And then we've got our thyme seedlings back here, and I did top those off already, so they're starting to bush out a little bit more. And then we've got more of our peppers growing back there. And then in this tray, we've got all of our annuum varieties, which I really need to get potted up into individual cells here. Probably tonight I'll start working on that. We did have one come up that is like an albino, if you can see it back there, but it's got white leaves back there. And I don't think that one's gonna make it. It looks like it's starting to kind of shrivel up. So that's kind of interesting, but all the rest are doing pretty good. We had a few varieties not germinate, which is okay. I still have plenty of more to plant in the garden. And on the top shelf, we have our onions and our leeks. So in this tray, we've got 2 varieties of leeks. Then we've got these 2 onions were started first, and then this onion was started a couple weeks later. So this is the Rosa di Milano, and then we've got our Ailsa Craig here, and then this one is the Patterson. And then we've got a tray of lettuce seedlings that I just potted up into individual cells there. So those are gonna be ready to go outside maybe in 2 or 3 weeks. I hope you enjoyed this tour of the grow room, and I'll be doing another one here in a few more weeks, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of changes. A lot of this stuff is going to be moved outside, and you'll probably be seeing my tomatoes. Hopefully I'll have good germination on those. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you again soon. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. You can also find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.